Fred comes in,
Then we have a quorum.
Then you have a quorum. You can
and
recognize
fine.
you have a quorum
And then
you have a
take
quorum,
action.
You can take
okay,
action.
okay. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order, roll call. I don't, where's the sheet for, to sign in?
Oh, it's right here, but.
Okay,
Thursday.
so, but I'll just do the roll call. Okay, Arturo Dominguez.
Here.
Julian Romnowski.
Here.
Dr. Rodney Rodriguez.
Here.
John Villarreal. Here. Fred Dickey. Mayra Hernandez. Alma Acevedo. Joe Maldonado. We're missing, and Rafael Duenas. So currently, we don't have a quorum. Mr. Fred Dickey said he was going to be coming in. So right now, we cannot actually get possible action on any items, but we can start the review process. So go ahead, Rodney and Julian.
Thank you.
Sorry, next on the agenda is citizen comments. Do you want to take any citizen comments first?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So are there any citizens' comments?
No, the only thing I'd ask is, how can we get a list of the scoring sheet? Do we have to put an open records request in?
It's available if you want to be, right, it's ready available. So
Okay.
if you want to
Yeah,
So,
have it.
okay, can he have a list now if there's a next?
Sure, because there's no
Identification.
identification on it.
Is there an
Okay, so-
extra copy that we can provide?
We can, you can have
Well, there's an extra copy, or you can get a copy for
Thank you.
Mr. Ortiz. Very good.
And I'm sorry, sir, what was your name for the record?
Rolando Ortiz.
Okay, thank you very much.
Again, the only item that we have today is a review and possible action on applications for the City of Laredo's Economic Development Director position. As I mentioned, we don't have a quorum, so we cannot take any possible action, but we can review. We are expecting Mr. Fred Dickey, one of our members, to be coming in. At that point in time, I will, if he does come in, I will mention that we do have a quorum. So with that in mind, I'll turn it over to Julian and to Dr. Rodriguez to go through the review process.
So basically, what the review process was is we had two separate meetings. The first meeting was so that we can kind of weed out the individuals because we had in total 31 applicants. Some of those applicants had no form of economic development experience at all and really didn't seem to fit what we were looking for. So those were first removed. From those 31 individuals, what we did is we eventually trimmed it down to 9 individuals. From that point, we qualified them on 6 different characteristics. The first one being, does the applicant have a bachelor's in business administration, marketing, or related field? The second is, does the applicant...
So like on that one, if they have a bachelor's, it counts as 1 point, master's 2, and doctor's 3.
And if they didn't have anything, it would just count as a 0. Exactly. Does the applicant have grant administration experience? The way we scored that was same on the 1, 2, 3 scale. If it was under 7 years, they would get a 1. If it was 8 to 10, they would get a 2. And if it was 11 plus years, they would get a 3. The other qualification was, does the applicant have at least 5 years of administrative responsibility? So supervising personnel, how many people basically were working under them, and it was the experience behind that. So if it was 5 years, it was a 1. If it was 7 to 9 years, it was a 2. If it was 10 plus years, it was a 3. The fourth qualification was pertaining to if they actually have an International Economic Development Council certification. The discussion amongst the subcommittee was that was extremely important because it was pretty much a seal in everything economic development and almost this added degree on top of everything. So we decided to score that out of a 3. If they had it, they got 3 points. If they didn't, they got 0.
So like in this one, the maximum point would be 4.
In
Or or?
3.
A 3, it would be a 0 if they didn't have it,
Okay,
or
so-
a 3.
So in other words, there's 4 criteria here, right?
Hmm.
So out of the 4, any one, then you'd go to the years, or how does that
Okay.
work?
I think are you referencing share qualification number 2?
Qualification
Where you have
number 2.
4? Okay, so the subcommittee decided that this would be bunched up
Okay.
because of the fact that experience in itself could be grant administration, economic experience, business experience. So instead of identifying them individually, what we did, we bunched up these 4 criteria to rate them. If they have any combination of this for under 7 years, they got a 1. If they got any
Okay, I got you.
combination
So
of
they
this
have-
from 8 to 10 years,
So
they
they were
got
a
a
grant
2.
writer for 5 years, and they had 5 years of business experience.
That's
a
10, so they get a 2.
Okay,
You
I
see,
got
so
you.
because if not, then
It's
it
a
would be
combination.
cumbersome, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a combination. It's 7 years combined within grant administration, economic, business, and community development. So you couldn't just give points for each area because it's a combination.
Exactly. And that's where you see the point metrics.
Okay, I got you, very good.
So continuing on after the certification, the International Economic Development Certification, we had 2 kind of bonus points, and it was either a 1 or a 0, and one of them being if they have strong computer knowledge. The second one, or the qualification number 6, is if they were bilingual. Us
Okay, so
being-
I'm in number 3, I guess.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
we went
apologies.
to 2, yeah.
okay, on qualification number 3 is if application had 5 years of administrative responsibility of supervising personnel and upper management level. So it was, if they had at least 5 years, it was a 1, 7 to 9 years was a 2, and 10 plus years was a 3. So it's how many people, if they had people working under them, you know, since this was a director's position, that was something that was very important to us.
There he is.
Save the day.
Better late than never. I forgot. I forgot.
No, it's
We
okay.
thought you were dying today.
No, and I was in a meeting. And I was in a meeting, and we said, I said, I gotta go.
Thank you. Get some lunch.
I will.
For the record.
Okay, for the record, yeah, Mr. Fred Dickey
Late. I'm sorry, guys. Better late than never.
is here, so now we have a quorum.
Thank you.
You can mark that for the record.
There's different salads, there's 2 different salads, so I'm not sure.
Both good.
Well,
They did bring the
How long did it take?
machacado plate.
How long did it take me to get? I drove like that out of hell.
Oh, you're pretty fast.
Thank God, because we needed
Ahí
you.
viene la policía. ¿sabes?
That's all right. I'll take my ticket now.
Don't worry, he
Good.
got in the hearse, so it's okay.
All the speeding tax.
Okay, so getting here to business, Fred, once you sign up there.
So, you want to continue, Julian?
I think we rounded the base there with qualification 3, yeah, we covered it.
Okay.
Those,
What was
so.
the binding?
The bilingual.
Oh, yeah, so the bilingual was as simple as if they spoke English and Spanish, that being extremely important.
It was important, but it was not as like the economic, so it was just a
Yeah,
1 or a
like
0.
the International Economic Development Council, that's a 3, there was 1 applicant that
That was a big one. Because
scored the 3.
that individual was at a 9 and this bumped him, or him or her, I don't know who it is, but to a 12. Yeah, because that's a big one. But it was, I just want to add to what Julian is reporting, the subcommittee really analyzed all these 31 applications very extensively. I want to thank also the staff, HR staff, for guiding us and being here with us during the process. But it was a very methodical process that we felt would give justice to this application process. And the recommendation from the subcommittee is that we interview those individuals that scored 8 or higher, and we have 6 at the present time that are being considered
The
due
one's in
to,
yellow right there.
yeah, right here, due to one being late and being scored. However, the subcommittee felt that this applicant would not be considered based on the fact that it was after the deadline date. And therefore, we elected.
Correction,
I'm
not
sorry.
after.
It's not
the-
It wasn't after the
No,
deadline?
it's
No.
just that it was an incomplete application.
Oh, okay.
You all had already reviewed the first 30
We're already in the
applications.
second.
Oh, we're in
You're
the
in
second phase.
phase,
Okay.
and the individual, within that time frame for the next meeting, submitted their missing
May I
information.
ask what the missing information was
It was needing clarification on their grant writing.
on the grant writing? So you,
They
I guess how long did it take from when we asked to when they responded? Okay, how long, when they submitted
Mhm.
to when we asked to when they responded? How long was that?
I mean, an incomplete is like.
Well, because to me, it's important because there's 3 others that graded lower than this one, and I want to be able to sure. Because if it was on the city side, where maybe we took a little bit longer, because we're busy, our computers went down, whatever it was, that you all know that, and that you're making a sound decision based on that.
And like I mentioned before, we really had a lot of dialogue on the process and this decision.
Right, but I want
It
to
was
make sure we get a
something
good
that-
candidate too.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, at the end of the day, city managers are going to recommend or approve yes or no. And if there's 3 others that are lower than this one and this one
Well,
graded
the
better,
subcommittee really feels that you have a very good pool of applicants.
you do.
I don't foresee you having an issue.
Okay,
with
so you have
having
6.
qualified.
Out of the 6, 3 are lower. So really, you're looking at 3.
But really, in all honesty, when you look at these applicants,
They're all
they're strong. It's just a matter of, we're really deciphering really strong qualifications.
For me, on paper, is very good. Once you get to see them, that's when you really decide who they really are.
And that's the whole process of the interview.
And so, if you're telling me that, then you're telling me that one of the top 3 is gonna be the selection process, selected, based on the scoring.
Well, I mean, I think you're assuming that that's the case. We want to interview them.
Right,
and
because
we
I'm
want
worried
to
that
make sure
there's,
that we have a good qualified
right, I'm worried
individual.
that there's one who falls in between the other 3, who may be considered if, based on timing.
Well,
And I don't know if the timing was on us, that's why I'm asking.
I have one comment, just listening to you all, and all respect. Is there somebody that's favored in there? Y'all don't know who it is.
We don't know the names.
They're on
We don't know
the-
the names.
Let's just, these guys spent some time. I would suggest, that we follow them. And if, you know what, the city council has, if they don't like it, they can say, okay, start
The
all.
city council's not gonna do this.
Or if
It's the
y'all
manager.
decide
Oh,
that
really?
the reality is, we
It's coming out of
can,
us.
it's a.
It's our recommendation, the
To us.
subcommittee is recommending.
To
If
Robert.
the city
If y'all
wants
wanna-
to do it themselves and consider all these, then you do the process
No,
to
no,
do that.
we
Because
appreciate
the
it.
subcommittee took a lot of time to evaluate these. We spent a lot of time
No, I appreciate what
discussing
you
it.
did.
So this is the recommendation that we're proposing to the chair of the
Okay, I
committee.
appreciate what you did. Honestly, I do, because it's taking time that Robert and I don't have at this time. So I appreciate that, honestly, I do. The point that I want to make is, at the end of the day, it got graded. It should have not gotten graded. For me, it should have not, we should have just said,
Shouldn't have been here.
it shouldn't have been
Well,
graded
then that should have been brought to the subcommittee.
for
If that's the
grading,
case, yeah.
I mean, that was a simple way
to not,
to find a good candidate. I mean, that was the best approach, I think, to us, that was the best place, and we did it like very, very detailed, and that was the outcome, that this is the outcome.
and I want to make sure that it wasn't on our end, because we could, right? And if it wasn't us that dropped the ball for this candidate not to be brought into the process. I just want to make
Do we
sure.
have an answer on that?
The individual applied on May the 7th. We,
That was on time?
we emailed the individual about having an incomplete application on May the 9th. We submitted
Came back?
the individual provided the information on May the 14th.
Yeah.
We've got some
Yeah,
strong
that was a
candidates.
And the ones that are
And when did they-
highlighted are the
when did
ones
they-
that we went over,
They,
we're talking about.
When did we meet the
Ken.
first time?
The first
He
time.
met at the end, and he's got a high score, you know.
The
so-
first subcommittee meeting.
Okay, that's what, okay.
That was the 23rd.
The question is, do we want to consider number 10 for interviewing or not?
Well, the subcommittee's already said no.
The subcommittee says no. and-
Well, the recommendation from the subcommittee is that we not consider it. That's
Because
just
he
a
was late?
clarification. It was
Maybe-
after the first round, Fred, of the
Maybe-
applications when we
maybe-
started the
maybe-
That was the
process,
first
so
meeting, the
it
second
was
meeting
coming
was
in
May
after we had already started the initial
Like an
process.
afterthought,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. I
Rules
mean,
are rules.
And we closed it on.
My rules are rules.
And for me, I mean, whatever the subcommittee, you
Yeah.
know,
And how does the city handle late applicants?
Well, it's not late because we didn't close it. I need to
it
find
was
out when we
additional
closed it.
Well, to
information.
me,
We
if you
closed
file
it,
something
um,
incomplete, it's late. I mean, it wasn't on time because
We
it was
closed it May the
incomplete. I mean, that's
May
reality.
9th is when it was closed.
and we, our first, uh, I guess our first subcommittee meeting was
May the 10th.
May the 10th. So on the first, we didn't get to see the application. Okay,
No,
so when we
because-
applied May 9th, it was incomplete.
We closed it May the 9th.
May I ask why on our first meeting, the applicant
10th.
Wasn't on?
9371 was not shown?
On the first meeting for the subcommittee,
Yes.
because he hadn't met the qualifications,
And that's it.
because it was an incomplete application. We were needing clarification on their experience.
And we do that for a lot of applications. One of them that may be here, we may have
We may
asked
have gone
the same route.
Yeah,
We do
it's
consideration.
very common that happens when we have
This one
individuals.
just happened to be after the close date, that the
One day.
information was provided or something?
One day before the close
Yeah.
date. One day before the meeting. No, two, actually. He submitted May the 7th. We closed it May the 9th and had the meeting May the 10th.
Mhm. And then on the 14th, we received the information. That's when his application was referred, because he never, once we got the clarification that we were missing.
We'll go by whatever recommendation you all provide. I just want to make sure that I'm,
So let's take a
Right.
vote, okay?
Well, no, if you don't mind,
Okay.
let me just clarify this, and I think this is the simple statement to make. Some individuals in the subcommittee aren't here, and there was a position taken by the subcommittee.
Okay.
With all those individuals being there, which is, we were gonna recommend, I guess it's 6, and we weren't gonna consider 9371 because it was provided on the 2nd. And I think that is, since not everyone's here, I think that's exactly what we should stay to. We can open up a discussion after that point and discuss if we would like the, as a whole, revisit and interview the applicant that's information was not completely provided. But I do agree with Ronnie that since not all these individuals are here,
You
and
can still have
as a
position.
group, that's the position that we're gonna take as the subcommittee. Because
Yeah,
that's what we all
not
agreed
to be
upon.
interviewed.
That will not be
Yeah, and-
considered for the interview process.
But if I make sure, I have an issue with the fact of opening it up to the full committee, because then if you bring this one out, 9371, and you bring it to the full committee, now this individual is being weighed with the full committee, not the subcommittee. You see what I'm saying?
I think that we had a subcommittee.
You know what, I
I
would
was
think
thinking
they
this
should
was
get
simple.
what they want. I mean, I think, you know, the reality, even if we take a vote, we're gonna vote right now that we don't want him in, and we move on.
Or her.
Or, yeah, the person.
Well, you know, why would we have a
So let's
subcommittee if we're
just-
not gonna take what they?
So our recommendation is these 6 people that are highlighted.
I second,
we-
I'd make a
So
motion.
we can make so let's just take a vote for a formality that we want to just interview the 6 people that are highlighted in here, which is number 1, number 4, number 6, 7, 8, and 9, and not number 10. So is there a motion?
I move that we move on those that are highlighted.
The
Highlighted.
6. All those in favor?
Second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay.
So the resolution was to interview the 6 that are highlighted.
So what's the next process?
So the next process, Ms. Cabello, is, I guess, is the setting up of the interviews?
so we'll have those available on Skype that are out of the state, as an
Okay.
example. And if you like them, they're really, really top, then we'll bring them in for a second interview. But we don't want to make that additional expense, not knowing you. Once you do the Skype, you like them, then we'll bring them in. If not, then, you cross them out. Those that are
Okay.
close by,
So-
within Texas, we'll bring in physically.
Okay, so the question is, we need to, now we're gonna do it as a full committee.
Right, correct.
So,
Full board.
so as a full committee, right? So with that, then you need to set interview dates to giving us 3 days prior so we can,
Be
if
able
we
to-
can do it on a Thursday at noon.
Next.
For the next 2 months.
Or.
Or you're gonna wanna have
or-
special meetings.
Or we can have a special meeting.
that.
Why don't you get different dates from the 7 applicants and let us know?
Well, no,
Okay.
they're what we want.
6 applicants, I'm sorry. I'm
So as long as
sorry.
you give them, let's say, a week or 2 weeks to travel, depending if they're local, then we'll find out if they're local, then we can have them maybe as early as next week, if you all are available.
You think we can?
If it's someone from out of town, even Skype, also.
Have we?
Yes,
have we
sir.
con-
Yeah, sorry. Can we interview more than one?
More than one at a time, yes, of course, that's what we were
Well,
thinking.
not at the same time.
No,
You
not
can
at the
have-
same
You can do
time.
back to back.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Just see
2 or 3 of you all can do 3, then
Yeah.
if not, then just 2 at a time.
No, yeah, the better, because yeah. Let's do that. So you'll set a,
So what we can do
What would be a
is,
preference? So you want to do it morning, afternoon, after 5? I mean,
We need to.
Have we confirmed all these individuals are available and
are still interested?
are
Yes?
interested? Yes.
Okay. Just wanted
what
to
is the
clarify.
committee's desire as far as time?
I would say the sooner the better.
The sooner the better.
I think you guys are in.
Because whoever, let's say we decide, let's say somebody else. If they're not from here, it's gonna take them time to get here, it's gonna take them time to acclimate.
Or we can do Skype. We can do what we call Skype, the initial
Yeah, I know,
interview.
I'm okay with Skype.
The initial interview, and then
you
you-
okay?
y'all say yes.
Okay.
Then we bring them in.
Y'all have the video conference, and I guess that's a.
No holograms?
I just want to make a comment to that. I honestly feel that person-to-person interviews are more effective.
I agree.
But if there's an option that they cannot be here, then use Skype. But if they can, if they want
To
to
be
be
here,
here,
they're within 150 miles.
I think it'd be great because
I'll
we
be
can,
front.
we
No, yes,
could,
most definitely, like,
you know-
within Texas area, even Dallas, we'll bring them in.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But do we know how many of these are from out, we don't?
I think one's from Colorado,
Let's see.
I don't know who you selected, but their initial, there was even one from England.
So
You know, so that's what I'm saying, let's do Skype first, I'm not sure.
One is from FAR,
We have 2 from
Okay, so that one
Far.
will be able to come.
4
Pretty
One from
quick.
is from FAR.
Good thing going.
Two
Also,
from FAR.
2 from Far.
Okay.
far, really?
Number 5.
Is that far? Is that a party?
Is that far?
I don't think far's that far.
Number
That's
5
close.
is Buckeye,
No, it's
Arizona.
number 6.
Okay,
No,
so we can do a
number
Skype.
4.
I'm sorry.
Did you already do number?
No, FAR, it's FAR,
Okay.
FAR, Texas.
And then number 6.
Number 6, I'm sorry.
McAllen.
McAllen.
That's close.
Okay, so that's
No
someone.
me
from there.
juntos.
Number 7 is all of that.
Juntos todos.
Number 7 is from Aurora, Colorado. Number 8 is from Pembroke Park, Florida. And number 9 is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
So we have 3 Skypes and 3 physical.
Unless they want to come down,
Yeah, I mean, ask them, see what.
I think give them the option.
Because, okay, so what's the process? We're gonna interview them.
Okay, so for the ones out of town, we'll want to do the Skype first so that we can have
Or
enough time.
they might
Because if you
have
like
families,
them, we
you
can have
never
enough
know.
time, when you do the physical ones, for us to be able to do the flights, like at least 14 days in advance. So let's try to get rid of the Skype first, and so that when you do the physical ones,
They can come.
and if you like any of these, then we already have 14 days to be able to book them with a
But you
decent
might
flight.
wanna ask them if they wanna come here, I mean.
Well, if they want to come down now, 7 days from now is a little bit flight
Right.
or expense. So if you give us like 14 days, so let's get
Okay.
rid of the Skypes first. And if you like any of those, then we bring them down
I think maybe.
in
this-
between
maybe
when you're
this-
interviewing the physical guys.
Yeah.
Okay, committee members,
That's
what
all.
time would be good, what day, and
That's
what
what I
do
was
y'all?
looking at my calendar real quick.
Are we gonna break these up into possibly 2 days? Because
Yes.
the only reason I ask is I don't think I've ever had a meaningful interview that was less than 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Correct. It'll be an hour interview at minimum.
Yeah, so I don't think we
I
can,
can't afford all day to be
Yeah.
here.
unless it's on a weekend.
Well, that's true. Saturday.
Let's not try and do it Monday through Friday, you know.
I'm completely okay with dedicating like multiple lunches where, Monday,
Like every
Tuesday,
day.
Wednesday, just,
Skype, one Skype.
The week of 17th through the 21st, I'm out, so I'm not here. But, and then I'm out Monday, Tuesday. I'm
Next
here.
week,
The 12th, 13th, 14th, I'm out the 17th to the 21st, but then I'm here the 24th through the 28th. So I don't know. It's up to y'all. I mean, I don't have to be here. Y'all have a committee, the full board.
Why don't we schedule 14 days from now and get everybody in here, yeah.
well, that would be 24th, right? That would be that week.
I'm out Thursday, the 20th afternoon, I have an IBC board meeting, that's
Thursday the 13th or
the 20th.
So why don't we not shoot for them?
that
The
week?
17th,
3 weeks
18th is
from now.
perfect if you can.
Oh.
but if not,
What, is that what,
You said
John,
no,
did you
no.
say you're gonna be out on Tuesday?
No, that's on Thursday, the 20th.
He's
Oh,
out the
17th,
20th.
okay.
17 and 18 would work with me.
That's good for me.
The 18th, I have nothing on my calendar.
Okay, but this is this month, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this is all in
Okay,
June.
because I have surgery scheduled for July.
Yeah, this
Is
is
that
all.
good for you, Fred?
Yeah, I'll make a way.
17th and 18th for sure.
17.
Lunch meeting,
Oh.
so you have two.
Como quieras. In the morning.
If we can get,
No, I'm
if we
asking.
can get 2 applicants per
A day?
day,
I was thinking 3 and 17 and 3 and the 18th. Get it done.
That's at least 3 hours, at minimum 3
That's
hours.
fine. I'm good.
I'd rather knock it out
Sure.
in
Yeah.
bigger bursts than
Yeah.
just scattering.
Because then we have 3 meetings. 2, 4, 6.
let's do that, 17 and 18. I like it. Whatever,
17 we have.
We need to get
we
this
have
done.
council.
yeah, let's get it.
And then should we schedule then on the 27th to be
Comments?
another EDAC meeting
In June, we
to
have
approve?
2 meetings.
Yeah,
We have
it's
the-
July,
July,
you only have
It's
one.
July that we only have one.
I mean, I think one thing that's important, we also have
It's
the
Monday.
Laredo
Monday's council.
CD, with the Laredo ACD or whatever, the corporation.
BBC.
It also, it's important, I mean, they serve a function with the private sector and,
Yes.
that's also, to me, it's important that we get a candidate also that can work with them too,
Of course.
because they serve a very good function.
Well, I know a major question I'm gonna have is how they see themselves fit in communicating with all the other economic development organizations that exist with all the other districts here, including EDC,
Laredo College.
Laredo College, AMU,
Right.
the county. I think that's a very important question that we're gonna have to ask.
Well, very good.
So what time on the 17th and 18th?
The Monday afternoon.
The
Because
easiest thing
we
is
have
to
Monday,
start-
we have council meetings, so,
The 17th, y'all have council meeting. Those are hard for you guys.
so if we're gonna have any, I would prefer in the morning just to get it out of the
Get it out of the
way.
way.
And then the 18th, then you
I
are
don't mind doing a
deciding.
morning.
Huh?
I don't mind doing a morning.
Morning is good.
Both days or just one day?
It's up to you guys. I
Just
can
Monday.
schedule
All
around.
all I ask is for Monday, so you can do whatever on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You
For
want
me,
to do
either-
Tuesday lunch
either,
then?
Lunch to 3.
So at least one of those hours are technically
Okay.
excused.
So you want to do Monday morning
Technically.
and Tuesday noon? What's good?
I think exactly.
I'm open.
You're open,
Monday
Fred?
morning and then
You're open,
Tuesday
Fred?
at, so
This-
Tuesday at 12 and then Monday at.
This
what time in
Monday?
the morning?
You
No,
No,
can do it 9 in the morning.
9's fine with me.
9, 10, and then, well,
Okay.
So are you gonna do the out-of-towners on Monday?
Okay.
I was gonna say, because then, yeah.
They can come in.
And then what I was thinking for the ones that are driving from Fort McAllen, that you do it at noon, so they can come in.
They
the
can come in
morning.
that day, we don't have to have a hotel expense. Yeah, that'll work.
so Skype on Monday and in person once on
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That's-
So
Well, good.
Monday 9?
Yeah, yeah.
Monday would be 12 to 3, and Monday morning from 9 to 12.
Someone will
Yes.
send us,
Yes, we
Yeah.
will.
good?
That'll work.
Very good. Well, thank you guys for Julian and us four. We were part of the committee. Fortunately, I couldn't be in the second one, but y'all did a great job. And well, we got dates to interview and
Do we need
put
a
this
motion
thing.
on?
Yes, can you make a motion on that?
Oh.
On the dates?
Okay, so is there anybody who wants to make the motion?
Yes, I'll go ahead and make it. So, I move that we, the motion is to interview the 6 individuals that were selected by the subcommittee to be interviewed on Monday, June 17th, and
From 9 to 12.
from 9 to 12, and Tuesday, June 18th, from 12 to 3 p.m. That's my motion.
Very good. So do I hear a motion? There's a motion. Fred, and all those.
I'll amend that
second?
the first one be by Skype and the second one that they come to.
Okay, so Rodney makes a motion, Fred seconds, and with the amendment, with Skype and of course, the option is for them to come, but if they can't, through Skype. So all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Very good.
Very good.
Other business, I don't know, Julian, do you have anything that you might want to report? I don't know if you had that meeting with,
Oh, yes, the presentation that we had with the TERS board.
Yeah.
Joe was there, and we presented what EDACT approved when it came to an inner-city housing incentive policy. They showed interest, they voted to support and continue discussions on how possibly the TERS board can financially be a part of the incentive policy. The only limitation that they expressed would exist is if they did, the way the TERS functions is it has a boundary. If the policy was implemented, it's limited, their funds can only be limited within that boundary. So if it's a project that's in another neighborhood empowerment zone that's outside of the TERS district, then they couldn't financially support that project. But anything within their boundaries, they could. So we're in discussions on figuring out what is actually possible and how they can incorporate our inner city incentive policy to their program.
on my end, I mean, I don't know, Rody, you're part of the LEDC, right? And is there anything on our committee that we can do to help you all as far as, you know, we're all in this together. We want to bring more, like Rodney, I mean, us here in EDAC, you guys, we're all in this together. We want to bring business. So, like you mentioned, we want to be able to have that great communication. So is there anything on our end that we can do for?
Just continued communication. I know Julian's on our board, I think Rodney or Dr. Florisa's on our board, so, I mean, just constant communication.
Excellent. Thank you.
And, Mr. Chair, if I could just comment, the Laredo Economic Development Corporation has been an extremely important partner to Laredo College for many, many years. We want to thank Olivia and the board for your leadership and helping us with our certification programs and all that, so, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Doctor. Is there anyone else?
I
Fred?
have a comment.
Okay.
I forgot completely today, and I've been having trouble with my email.
Oh, no, did you email the city or?
No, did not.
We're back up.
I changed computers, I went to an Apple system, and
You got a rotten
2
apple?
days ago, and yeah, I got a rotten apple.
Or is it a pineapple?
But anyway, other than letting the notice, was it 2 days before when you post?
We post 3 days,
72
72 hours.
If we could get a post in the morning. I mean,
I
not a
can forward
post,
that
but an
information
email.
to your
or
staff
what?
liaison.
Huh?
I can forward that information to your staff liaison. I simply take the minutes. I actually don't reach out to the,
Yeah, I understand.
Sometimes
No, no,
we're
staff.
honestly, it's, part of it is, I try and maybe I need to get the agenda items earlier, and sometimes it's my fault,
But no, what I'm asking is that if the morning of, if we can get
A
an
reminder.
email, yeah.
Oh, okay.
An email, I prefer a call, but email,
Or maybe I can get a text, send you all a text.
On the event, you
Sounds
can
good.
actually include an alert. So next time you guys create the event, if you include.
Or
an
yeah,
alert,
on
it'll actually-
Outlook, I think y'all do, I think they do, right?
We'll let the liaison.
Yeah, we can have the liaison.
Yeah, the liaison.
Ask them to add a,
And if
I'm
y'all
aware.
also want to
I'm
add
aware.
a thing in your own calendars, a series, it's this first, second, I don't remember.
I think I
Yeah,
did, but
it's
you
the
know, I
first
don't remember.
Thursday of the month. Now, next month, we're not gonna have it on the 4th, we'll have it on the 11th.
Okay,
The,
okay, so we'll definitely let your,
I may not be able to be here. I'm having eye surgery.
Okay.
I can't see my lips or.
Okay. Well, very good. Anything else?
just to confirm, are we meeting after those two interviews the next week? Do we have to set that right now, that time, or?
We ought to, while it's fresh in our brains,
Yeah.
That's, so if we're meeting the 17th and 18th, do we want to meet the following week on the 27th, like a typical meeting, a Thursday?
Yeah, unless y'all want to do it, I can't do it on the 20th, but I think, or we can do it that Friday or Monday, do it as early as we can.
Okay.
Can we do it on the 19th?
Mr. Chair, would the recommendation then be at that board meeting for who the committee or the board decides who we want to recommend, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think once we interview the
I think
6,
once you've interviewed, then you can then narrow down as to your recommendation.
The full
To
board
Yeah,
decides?
to the
Oh, the
management.
21st,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out.
So then, and then that way, if it's the 27th, then on July 1st, you present your city, or how does that, is it gonna come from us
It
or
would
what?
need, no, management is the one that makes that decision.
Oh, okay.
They can provide a status report for the council meeting of the.
But
So, and
who's gonna decide, like, say for instance, we recommend the one individual, then when do you make that decision if you're gonna go with the recommendation from the board?
But you have full discretion just to
It would,
hire.
it would be at
Yeah.
the discretion of city manager, the two city managers.
Which will be-
Co-interim city managers.
When,
But does John have to come to the city council recommending this person?
That's what I'm asking.
Mhm.
Well,
well,
the EDAC.
I think we
Well,
should.
But, yeah, I mean, you as the
Yeah.
chair, but we'll back you up.
I can't speak for the managers, they may want to just present it in front of council. Council doesn't have to take action, they don't need the council's vote for the selection. The
Right.
city managers can make the
Okay, I
selection
get you.
without,
Okay. So-
without the
Right.
council, but
Yes, sir.
they may still bring it.
It's
So
not
we can
contingent
try and
on the-
maybe have the meeting on the 24th.
Yeah, there we go, whatever. So that way they can maybe put us on their
Because I'm out
agenda.
20th and the 21st.
18th and 19th interview.
17th and 18th interview, 17th in the morning and 18th in the evening.
we'll
And
let
then
you
maybe
know.
we could try and have a meeting on the 24th.
Well,
Yeah,
It's a long day,
because
Judy.
if it needs to be added on the council agenda, it needs to be prior to July
Or,
1st.
or on the 18th, right after, we can select, guys.
That would be great, but my recommendation to that is I think we should digest
Okay.
everything. Like, I'm
Yeah, because
just saying not the 18th.
Okay.
You know, maybe it's
On the 24th, do you want to do it on the 24th?
I think 24th would be good. We can digest and really.
And then we try to get on the agenda for the 1st of July?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the deadline for the 1st of July would probably be the
26th.
26th.
Okay.
Okay.
We got it.
Perfect.
So can I make a motion to have the following EDAC meeting on the 24th at 12 o'clock?
To call an EDAC.
So there's a
meeting.
motion to have the EDAC meeting on the 24th
At
of June
12?
At 12.
at 12 o'clock.
Yes, to
Is
to
there a
make the final
second to that
selection.
motion, or is there any discussion?
I second.
Rodney seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. Is there anything else?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. So the 24th meeting will count for the 27th that we were scheduled for?
Yes, in other words, we want to have it as early as we can.
Because
But that's, we get the credit for that meeting.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
not absent
have-
like if we're not gonna be.
Well,
Yeah.
So this is your
This-
June regular
Oh, this is our
meeting,
June.
the 24th will just be a
Oh,
special
it's a
meeting.
special meeting, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify.
so now city council has to do the same thing,
I think
publish
that's,
the meeting in advance.
Okay, the 17th at 8
Very
o'clock.
good. Anything else, committee members?
Ahorita.
That, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
so moved.
Mr.
Third,
Arturo?
third, fourth.
And who's it, y'all raised up? I didn't see who crossed the finish line, so. Fred, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, question, 17th at what time?
At 9,
At 9.
Okay, I'll put it in.
9 to 12. And then.
And I know